drove past a dumpster. There was like some furniture and a skateboard sitting next to it. And I was like, I'm gonna grab that skateboard, which is basically how most things happen in my life. Absolutely random.
Dream team, stick together and make history. Golden Wonderland.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Eden and I have a Q&A for you today. It's probably been about 8 months since I've done one, and it's just a nice, concise way to get all of the questions that you guys have had throughout vlogs over the past few months. So I asked over on Instagram. If you're not following me there, this is a great time to do so. Lots of fun things happen there. I skateboard, I dance, I do yoga, I do nothing. So if you want to follow that, let's just get into it because I feel like this will be quite a long video. The first question is, do you struggle with PCOS or infertility? Now, this is something that I get asked very often if I have PCOS, and I have not been diagnosed with PCOS. I know a lot of people self-diagnose with PCOS, but according to my doctor, PCOS is one of those things that are over-diagnosed and simultaneously it's underdiagnosed at the same time because so many people are borderline. So my practitioner's practice is to treat the symptoms unless you are meeting more of the criteria. I have regular periods. I ovulate regularly. I don't have any visible cysts. The only things that would consider me to be someone that I don't have excess facial hair, like something that would consider me to possibly have PCOS is gaining weight quickly, inability to lose weight within a calorie deficit, and some of those things. Just because I have the metabolic side of PCOS doesn't necessarily mean I have PCOS, but your doctor may diagnose you with PCOS just from the metabolic issues. So it's just very vast on how doctors diagnose people with PCOS. So my doctor just chooses to treat the symptoms as the symptoms instead of PCOS because I don't meet enough of the criteria. So that's why I take inositol, which is like a more natural version of metformin. It has really good scientific data to back it up. You can check out like Abby Sharp and a few other dietitians and doctors have talked about how inositol at some point may replace metformin for PCOS specifically, not for type 2 diabetes. And as far as infertility, I've talked about this a lot in the past. I guess not a lot in the past, but I've talked about it openly in the past. I don't know. Like I said, I do have regular periods and I do ovulate, which are good signs, but my grandma was only able to have one child, which is my mom. Her twin was only able to have one child, which is my cousin. Her sister, my Aunt Bebby, was not able to have children at all. She was completely infertile. Her sister, my aunt's sister, was unable to have children as well. So she adopted 2 children. My mom had 2 children, me and my sibling, but there's 13 years in between us. In between those 2 pregnancies, there was a stillbirth, a tubal birth, and 3 miscarriages, I believe. So the women in my family aren't incredibly fertile. On my maternal side of my family aren't incredibly fertile. I don't know a ton about like my father's side, my birth father's side of the family. I know that my dad's mom had 2 kids, him and my uncle, and that's really as far as I know on his side of the family. But from what I know, the women in my family aren't terribly fertile, so I have no clue. And I am gonna be 33 this year, so I'm entering that window of when it's like, I don't know, iffy. But then I've also been told by so many women that they get pregnant in their late 30s, and I see more people getting pregnant in their late 30s and 40s, so it's all just a big mystery for me. I haven't gone as far as like getting my eggs checked or anything like that because it's not super important to me. I love foster care. I would love to foster to adopt if that came into my path at some point in life. So yeah, oh my gosh, this video is gonna be so long. We're already 4 minutes in and I've only answered 1 question. Which do you prefer, sushi or poke? Oh, that's so hard. I really want to go to this place in Houston that makes sushi donuts and poke pizza, or sushi pizza. It sounds really weird. I'll try to insert pictures so you know what I'm talking about, but those look really good because it's like the best of both worlds. But I guess I would say poke because there's just sometimes I just want like a salad, a poke salad or something like that, so we'll go with poke. How do you stay strong on your weight loss journey? Because I don't really picture it as a weight loss journey. I just think of it as overall wellness. I do the things that I need to do to feel good. I don't feel good if I eat a bunch of crappy food. I don't feel good if I'm not moving at all. So I try to do the things that make me feel good. And if I lose weight, bonus, great. So yeah, that's basically it. I just want to feel good about myself. So that's a motivation enough. It's just like how I feel outside of weight. Where do you see your channel in 5 years? I have no clue. So many random things happen in my life, but you guys will be seeing whatever's happening. I just like vlogging. I don't like having like a niche or like doing like very sit down, informative. Like that's just not my style. It's always just gonna be kind of what I'm doing, what I'm loving, and just encouraging you guys to do the same. So yeah. Do you miss your vegan way of eating? No, not necessarily. And honestly, I don't feel like I eat that much different. Like the base of what I eat is pretty much the same, but the protein is just switched. Instead of tofu, it's eggs. Instead of a Beyond Burger, it's a grass-fed steak. Instead of, you know, whatever it is, soy curls, it's salmon. So like the basis of what I eat is still the same. The salads, the sauces, the different like veggie sides are all the same, just the protein has changed. So how I eat hasn't changed very much at all, so I don't really miss it. How's your boyfriend handling your health journey? Does your way of eating affect him? No. And it's so odd because I got this question all the time. The same person asked the question about me being vegan. I got the same question when I was vegan all the time. Like, how is it dating someone who isn't vegan? How does he deal with your style of eating? And my answer is pretty much the same. He eats the same no matter what. So for him, I just have to adapt. Like when I was vegan, I would make baked potatoes. So I'd make a veggie like topping for the baked potato and a meat topping for the baked potato. Or tacos, I'd make a veggie filling and a meat filling. Now it's very much the same. If I'm making a stir fry, he's eating it with regular rice. I'm doing my rice, half cauliflower rice. It's just like adapting. I feel like all couples, a lot of couples have different eating styles. So you just like make one meal, but with like a little bit of a different component. And there's some times where he wants to cook for himself, I want to cook for myself, and we have completely different meals. Now, the only time that anything affects anyone, it's affecting me, is when I stop eating, usually around like 7 p.m. just because I've had a lot of digestive issues in the past. So I can't really eat late at night. He is a late night person and a late night snacker. So when he wants to go to Jack in the Box at like midnight and I'm hungry again because I haven't eaten since 6 p.m., like that's when it gets dicey. It's not dicey for him, it's dicey for me because I'm like legitimately hungry because it's been like 6 to 8 hours since I've eaten. So then I want to eat again. I want to like eat something again. So I'll usually make something here at home, but like it's just like, when he's here, I have to try to stick to my schedule of like still going to bed at my normal time instead of extending my bedtime to hang out, because then I'm like starving. So yeah, that's the only struggle we have. In the future, do you guys plan on living together or enjoying personal space? We do plan on living together, I guess, at some point. That may be sooner or it may be later. There are just a lot of factors. He has a roommate and a lease there. I'm re-signing my lease here. This place is big for me, but for 2 people, it's not necessarily the best setup. He has a lot of shit, like a lot of shit. He would definitely have to get like a storage, and we'd have to figure out some kind of officing situation for both of us since there's only one room, and his stuff will definitely fill that room to the brim. So there's just a lot of logistical things that happen. We do plan, yes, on living together at at some point. I just don't know exactly when. We have a pretty good system. We see each other regularly. FaceTime makes things very easy, so it doesn't make it feel like we're so far apart all the time. Sometimes, yes, it does get hard and we would prefer to be closer together. But I guess that's a long way of saying the ultimate goal is yes, we just don't know exactly when. I got a lot of questions about skateboarding, like a trick I'm hoping to learn on the skateboard, how's the skateboard practicing going, how much have I improved in skateboarding, and I do plan on doing a separate video on skateboarding and like especially tips for plus size people that want to skateboard, just how I'm starting to get started. And this is so funny, like I never would have pictured myself even trying to skateboard. I drove past a dumpster, there was like some furniture and a skateboard sitting next to it, and I was like, I'm gonna grab that skateboard, which is basically how most things happen in my life, absolutely random. So I've actually purchased a longboard because I used to say, like, when I wanted to move to California, I wanted to longboard. So after a few times being on the skateboard, seeing that it was like difficult, but something that I feel like at some point I could get better at, I decided to go ahead and get a longboard. And I do want to do mostly just cruising and maybe some longboard dancing, I don't know. But I'm gonna do a whole separate video on skateboarding, but it's fun, I really like it. It's a fun like little cardio thing that's also not like super intense. So basically, skateboarding's going good. Do you plan on getting a new fur baby? If so, when? And can we see a video of Nicole if it's not too painful? So, I have applied for probably about 8 dogs, and to the point where I was in the car once with a new toy and a new bed going to get a new fur baby, and someone else got there before me because a lot of the shelters right now are so overrun. It's first come, first serve. You can't like hold dogs in. The dog that I was gonna go get was in San Antonio, another little chihuahua. She was chocolate. She was so cute. And I've applied for so many dogs, and for some reason or another, all of them have either been adopted or it's fallen through or whatever. So I'm just taking that as a sign that maybe I don't need another pet right now. Me and the boy do have some plans for some like travels and things once things have calmed down, if things ever calm down with COVID. And I did have to renew my passport, so I'm waiting on my passport too. And I'm like, oh, that would complicate things with travel. And my parents were very kind with keeping Nicole for me all the time when I traveled for work and different things, but I don't want to make that a habit with a new pet. So I think I'm gonna cool it on the pet search for a while. I do look every once in a while. I just get the urge to look and browse and see if I can find a little buddy, but I think I'm gonna wait, and I will insert some Nicole footage. If you guys are new here, Nicole's my 13-year-old Chihuahua. She died of heart failure last year. It was super sad. I'm still like a shell of a person. I feel like I'm laughing, but I'm in a lot of pain. I totes had a breakdown like last week. I was just like crying for hours. It's just so sad when you lose a pet. It's like way sadder than like losing. Some pet people will understand, like I've never cried at a loved one's funeral the way that I continue to like be sad about my dog dying. So maybe that makes me like a very weird type of person, but I think it makes me the best kind of person. So yes, Nicole footage. Nick and I are at Manhattan right now, Manhattan Beach, because she's never been to the beach before. So I want to see how she'll like it. Hopefully she likes it. What do you think, Nicole? What do you think about the beach? Come on. Come on, beach puppy. Come on, beach puppy. I haven't even taken the tags off of this sweater yet, and Nicole has made it into a bed. Do you like your new bed, baby? Yeah, that's mommy's sweater. Yeah, my sweater. How did your squatty potty work out? Okay. I love that thing. It's not a real squatty potty, for you guys that are wondering. I got the one that was at Aldi. It was like $10 or $15, and I was so upset because they had them in the ad a while back, and I went, and my Aldi, for some reason, it hasn't been able to get any Aldi finds in like months and months and months. So, because I wanted a second one for my other bathroom. That's how much I love it. I love it. I think the boy likes it. Not 100% sure. But the squatty potty and the bidet, I love both of them. Great bathroom improvements in life. And the squatty potty, like now, if I have to go anywhere else, I'm just like, what can I put my feet up on? It's just really good. It just definitely enhances the pooping experience. Wow, great day. Are you and the boy ever moving in together? I already answered that. Dream brand partnership. You know, I would love to partner with like a company that makes tumblers, because I'm always drinking water, tea, something like a brand that makes tumblers, making like a custom collection of different prints. I would like to do something like that. I would love to partner with Lululemon, like for a custom collection, but they have never done an influencer partnership like ever. I don't even think they've done athlete partnerships ever, or in a very long time. I would also really like to partner with Lola Getz. I love Lola Getz, but they have had some production issues. Like I ordered their new all white collection on August 5th. And it arrived yesterday, which was September 2nd. Like, that's a long time. And it didn't used to be like that. And they used to be really quick, and it might just have something to do with COVID. But their quality is just like really so good. I just don't recommend them as much anymore because of like lack of like the support time, getting questions answered, and shipping has been a little like dicey, and I just don't like to attach too closely when there are those issues, because if you guys have an issue with that, then you come to me and you're like, what the heck? And you know, that's the problem, even though the quality is like amazing. So I feel like a company like Lola Getz, I'd really get to like be super involved in the process. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, other things are in my brain, but it'll make this video way too long. Okay, what makes you confident, and how do you deal with not so confident days? Not so confident days, I really just try to like dress in clothing that I love and that I feel confident in. I think like really like spiffing yourself up can help boost your confidence on days like that. Like doing your moisturizer, doing your skincare, putting on a little mascara can help like bump up the confidence, just like that little extra self-care. And how do I stay confident? I know that my value is not associated with like any of this. Like I add value to the world, I add positivity to the world, I give light and love, and I listen to people, and I care for people, and that makes me like a genuinely awesome human. And I am confident and proud to say that. Like I try to stay humble, but like I'm a good person, and I deserve love. I deserve to feel happy, and I deserve to experience things in life. I deserve to go to the pool. I deserve to feel the sunshine on my skin and not be covered up. It's like, what do I deserve is kind of what I think about in confidence. And every time someone asks this question, my answer is different. And I think that that's valuable, because not one thing is going to resonate with every person. There will be something different for everyone that makes them feel confident. So it's just like trying new things, writing affirmations, saying things to yourself in the mirror really helps other people. Doesn't help me, but I know some people like love that. So it's really like surrounding yourself with people who are body positive and affirming, and seeing like what their practices are and seeing what you can work into your life that may help you in that way. How has my spirit life been? It's been okay, you know? Just with like all of the turmoil in the world and how I despise so many Christians in this world, because they clearly have never read the Bible. It just frustrates me so much, and like I definitely consider myself less on the Christian side, more on the follower of Christ side, being more Christ-like versus all of the BS that a lot of mainstream churches teach that like Jesus wouldn't even agree with. So that's why like where I am on the spiritual side, you guys know I stopped going to church a while ago because of some things that had happened with the LGBT community in my church. And then also my uncle was a pastor, some really terrible things happened within his congregation. So it kind of like turned me off on the idea of organized religion anyhow. But it is still going well even with all of that. It could always be better. I could always strive for more connection to like the divine, and I will. You know, we all have those seasons that are just like a little meh, I guess. Do you have a 5, 10, 15-year plan, or do you play it by ear? I play it by ear. Jesus, what's happening? Like that's literally my playing it by ear. I make plans, I have goals, but I'm always flexible is what I say. Any tips on meeting a quality man? This is really hard. I online dated for a while, and that was like, it was okay. I've definitely heard some horror stories from other plus size women on attracting quality men online, but then I have friends that have met their husbands. So I would say that paid sites are typically better, like eHarmony or Match, where people pay when you're investing money. I feel like typically people are a little bit more serious. In pre-COVID, I would have just said to put yourself out there, to say yes to more opportunities, like coworkers wanting to go out or going to church or whatever it may be. Put yourself in a situation where there are people so that you have more of a chance of meeting people. Put yourself in places where you feel like quality people are in general, and you are more likely to meet quality men. I know that that's harder in COVID times because you can't go out a lot of places. You can't even really see the bottom of people's faces. I met most of my ex-boyfriends at the gym, to be completely honest, but like that's just a little bit harder now. But I feel like once things do get back to normal, those are still my general tips. And not being afraid to ask people out, and just to become friends with people. Sometimes friendships lead into relationships, and I feel like the foundation of the relationship has to be good friendships. I was friends with my boyfriend for maybe 2 years, just friends before we even started dating the first time. So I hope those tips help. I don't feel like they're very good, but I think that they would still help. Do you have a schedule to post your videos? No, I typically post on Thursday and Sunday. If I go down to once a week, I usually pick one or the other, but sometimes they do happen in between, like on a Friday or a Monday, the day after, depending what's going on, or if I'm waiting for a brand to approve something. I used to have a schedule years ago. I need a little bit more freedom. So you know you'll get at least 1 video a week from me, and then 2 in a lot of seasons. You'll get 2 videos a week. So yeah. Would you ever visit Cape Town? Absolutely. What is the name of the healthy program you're using that might be covered by insurance? So this isn't gonna matter for most of you guys because you don't live in Austin. So if you live in Austin, it's called the Healthiness Program through Austin Regional Clinic. So I've heard people say that there are similar things in other states, but you're really just gonna have to get on the Google machine and see in your area what they have. I've heard some people say in their towns that it's called like the wellness program or obesity prevention program. Like, there are so many varieties of names that they're called across the country that it's not really helpful to tell you what's here in Austin. You really will just have to like go to the different kinds of hospitals and clinics in your area and see if they offer something similar. And you might just want to ask your doctor if he or she knows if there's something like that in your area. So mine's covered under insurance. I do have to pay copays and etc. But yeah, that's really, you just should Google like your city healthiness wellness program and see what comes up, because usually the AdWords are tagged well enough that if you Google it, something will come up that will at least get you a starting point on where to look. Do you teach at a studio? If so, are you back in person classes? I will not be back in person classes until COVID is like gone. I know it will like never be 100% gone, but like I'm not teaching in a hot yoga studio with a bunch of unmasked people. It's just not gonna happen. I was teaching at Autonomy Movement pre-pandemic. They ended up closing and pivoting. I also taught at Everybody Los Angeles, which is obviously in Los Angeles. Hopefully I'll go back to teaching there post-pandemic. But as far as here in Austin, there aren't really that many studios that align with me. Like, if I go into a studio and I don't see any plus size people, I don't see any black people, I don't necessarily want to teach at that studio. And maybe, yes, me being there would bring in more of that population, but if they're not already there, it makes me feel like the place isn't inclusive. And that's just not my zhuzh. So I will probably stay online post-pandemic as well. I think I'll just continue to offer free classes on YouTube, even though I don't put up that many. I know I need to get on more of a schedule with providing yoga classes, but I've also thought of getting certified in mat Pilates so that I can use more resistance bands and things like that. So that might be something that I'm interested in doing soon as well. I don't think I want to do bar, but more like Pilates. So yeah, that's that on that. And the last question is, just making sure I'm not missing any, is why are you so amazing? What a great note to end on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this answered all of your questions. I was surprised there weren't more product questions. I feel like there are a lot of product questions, typically like things that I've mentioned that I either forgot to link or said too quickly or something like that. But I feel like I've been really good at linking everything lately so that there are less questions on that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you really soon. Until next time, get out there and love life.